Hello everyone, welcome to Manoj Simplify show. And today I bring one very interesting person to you who is going to share with you like how can you go to the next level in your life. He has been working on a very interesting moment. So today we are going to learn more from Utkarsh Shrivastava. Welcome Utkarsh.
Thank you so much, Manoj. I'm so glad to be part of this journey with you because I haven't been interacting with you and learned a lot from you. And of course, I have my own journey. If there's some way I can contribute to your audience, that would be great. So thank you so much for inviting me here.
My pleasure. And first time when I got to know about this concept of meta-human Utkarsh, I found it very interesting. And through this Manoj Simplify show also, I am trying to help people like how they can overcome their challenges. It may be related to their health, their mind, all the things which are stopping them. Because of that, they are not able to utilize their potential. So we would like to know more from you, like what is this meta-human concept which you talk about?
Yes, definitely. So thanks for asking that because I love to talk about this, especially in the era post-COVID. It is also very relevant. So what happened to me also, like coming from a lower middle class family and going through the same, like if the boy is there, he has to be engineer. So started working on like all physics, chemistry, maths, got into engineering college. It was again a story there that I was not that good at academics. So getting 43,883 rank in AIEEE, getting a good decent college was a miracle in itself. So I was always a curious person. I was always ready to learn new things, but was far away from mugging up and all those things. So that was not me. I could not get the connection with like scoring marks over learning things. So my main intention was there. So all those things didn't play that well into academics, but ultimately I got college and all, and then started working and got to decent IT company. And with that, within 2 years, I was placed as a SME, subject matter expert in on-site deputation, Dallas, USA, and Dallas, Texas, USA. So what happened is, so life was going with the flow. I was loving everything. So, but then what happened is, I had to come back to India, start my family, and COVID happened. Till that time, everything was going like, yes, there was some confusion related to like, is it something I'm doing? The life was like all 9 to 5 and everything. And IT profession is not always 9 to 5. You join at around 8 and 10, and then you leave office around 11 sometimes. So it's not always like that. And then you have on-site offshore calls, so life and all always revolved around that. Post COVID, like when 2020 started, and also in mid of 2019 I became father for the first time. So that was again a big change in my life because I started seeing world differently. That point of time when COVID happened, once I was happy that I was having the time to spend with my child because of work from home, but then I started seeing people like leaving, getting laid off from jobs, and even a lot of people from relatives and friends were not even able to see the next day because of COVID. They had to leave the life, and they died and everything. So that made me think that is this life around this only? Do the work, live paycheck to paycheck, and then die. So that made me think about life itself, and then it was a great hunger in my life that why don't I find what's the meaning of my life and what I can do so that I can become future proof. I don't have to rely on economy. I don't have to rely on any job or a company. How I can become future proof. That was main intention in my life, and started doing a lot of things and drop shipping, digital marketing. I tried a lot of things and failed at each and every one of them. Then I got in touch with my mentor who helped me understand who am I, and I have to face that truth to myself. From my childhood, I loved superheroes. I loved comics and everything. And because of peer pressure, because of everybody's thing, I started to getting away from that. Then I realized because yes, I love superheroes, I love superpowers for a reason, and that made me think about this particular thing, explored more, and got to know, I had a deep research, like a deep interest into deep space research as well. So when I started exploring myself deeply, I got to know about this beautiful concept is that we human beings are not just locked in our this DNA, the structure that we have. All the animals are there; they have a genetic potential that they have to stick to. But human beings are not. Like a lion can only be a lion; you cannot be the best lion in the world. But a human being can become like anything they desire, and they put their heart and focus in. So that is the beauty of it. And another thing is, in this entire history of not even Earth, even the universe, 13.6 billion years, if we go back and see that each and every coincidence happened so that today we are here living, talking to each other, and being able to control our lives. So we can focus either on the survival zones, or we can focus on the purpose of our life. And that gave me the concept of we are not just humans, we are meta humans. We have some unique abilities in our life, which if we utilize and we connect with the purpose that universe has defined for us, then we can do anything that is possible, not only for ourselves, but to impact any number of lives we want and leave a legacy for ourselves. So that is the concept of meta human that I got into, and from that point of time, everybody I take a look into, I just try to see that person, the person that he can be, not what he is right now, and how I can help them to work on themselves to get their superpowers and become future.
Interesting. So, like, I can completely relate when you shared this, like how you, through your own journey, through your own life, how you realize these things. And this is something which happened with me also. And I'm sure, like, there are many who are listening to this. They are in that stage. They still don't know, like, what is the next thing for them. Like the question you mentioned, who am I? So still they are looking to figure that out. So if I ask you, Utkarsh, like, what are those key elements of a meta human? What will you say?
Definitely. So, what is a key element is, first of all, let's again understand the concept in terms of DC Comics, how they define it. They define as metahuman are the people who have the potential, they have the superpowers which are latent in them. They have not activated it yet. Okay. And once there is a trigger that happens in their life, that makes them to go for understanding what their superpowers is and then start using it. So one like small analogy I can give, not analogy, rather example, which we see in one of the Marvel movies when we saw Magneto, the main meta mutant, he got his power. So that was in there was a war going on and he was separated from his mother, and then he started manifesting his power, and there was a iron gate in between, and he bent that gate, and then a police officer actually hit him hard on his head so that he stopped, otherwise he could have blown the things apart. So that is kind of a trigger that happens that activates the power and gives them the metahuman abilities. But how we realize these things in real scenarios where we see in daily life, and that actually happens through the universe gives us a nudge. Okay, so whenever we are doing certain things, we are living a life which is not exactly connected to our purpose. That point of time, the universe gives us a hint, maybe in form of some aspiration that we get a dream that we are so focused that we want to go for. For example, you see, maybe Sachin Tendulkar and all, he wanted to become a great cricketer, so he started working on that, and he devoted his life to be a great batsman, and that manifested that way. Maybe when we see about a tragedy that can also happen. For example, I take example of Dashat Manji from a remote village in Bihar, that he was living a simple life, and he was a very simple, very humble person. He didn't had any aspiration, nothing like that. But there was a big mountain in between his village and the next town where they can get simple amenities. And one day, when his wife was ill, he could not take her because there was no transport available and he could not go through the mountain. That point of time, he lost his wife. she could not live longer, so that they can take her to the hospital. So he, in I think 22 years or 24 years, he broke down the entire mountain, and that was his purpose, and he got through that tragedy. So this happens to us in multiple ways. Only thing is, we don't have to wait for a tragedy to happen. What we can do is simply understand, start working on three things. One is connecting to our purpose of life. Okay, as I said, I started thinking about who am I. So that is the place where we start with our purpose. And purpose is something very beautiful. We do not get to know very easily sometimes. Some people may get very easily. Some people may have to take a lot of actions to try test out different things to get it for themselves. So that is first thing. Start connecting to purpose. Maybe straight away it does not work with you, but start thinking about it, working on it. So that's the first point. Second point around it is process. So what I've seen, like learning from a lot of amazing mentors, and looking at the reading some great books. I have like read hundreds of books in the last 2-3 years. So seeing through that, what I see is success leaves clues. You don't have to do a lot of things every time yourself. You don't have to reinvent the wheel because it's already done. What you can do is start finding what exercise I give usually to my mentees is find out 5 personalities which you relate to them. Why? We can see that there are so amazing people, but you choose those 5 people who are your top list. There would be some capabilities or some qualities they have which you already have, or that triggers you to be closer to your purpose. Find out those and see what life they have gone through and what are the elements you like about them actually. And that gives you a chance to understand your purpose, and you can follow the process that they have gone. And especially that works with a mentor, because mentor who has walked the path, they can be helping you to fast track the journey, because there's nothing that you cannot do. But yes, you don't want to take a route of like going through fast 5-10 years to figure it out, which already people have done. So find out, reach out to those mentors and see that what they have done, and if you have similar results, and you can take the help from them to understand their process so that you can fast track the journey. For example, I always wanted to do skydiving, and it is impossible for me to think about like jumping from a plane from 30,500 feet in the sky. But I was able to do it because I had a trainer with me. I had a tandem jump, so a trainer was with me. I jumped through the sky without thinking about much thing. Of course, looking down from the plane, it was like, what the hell I am doing? But it was bliss, because by trusting in my trainer, I jumped from there, and I could take the bliss. I could see the amazing views, and while descending, I could see that so big this world is, and we are just small ones, so that keeps us grounded also. So all those things I could experience because of my the trainer or the mentor who has done those things hundreds of times, so I can do that faster. So the second point is process, and third special point is because in this superhero journey there is a villain. A super villain is there which is so powerful. That villain knows each and everything about us, each and everything, and it will stop us any point of time when we start working towards our purpose and start doing something amazing for ourselves and others. Till the time we are binge watching Netflix, we are doing a lot of things, nobody cares. But as we start doing something and working on ourselves to improve something, maybe health, maybe relationship, maybe your financials, anything you start working on, you get resistance. That resistance is the biggest enemy. This resistance can take any form. This could be outside you, like your relatives, your friends saying, "Beta tumse nahi ho payega. This is not possible for you. Log kya kahenge?" All those feelings and everything that is outside, and everybody will stop you. Secondly, it can take from inside, your inner chatter, like, "Who are you kidding? You are not made for this. Let's sleep for some more time. Why to wake up so early? Why to do so much things?" All those inner chatters, it will take any form and shape. So that supervillain will always try to stop you. And that is a mechanism from actually the universe to test you, that are you ready to do the things that you are destined to. And that is point of time. The third thing comes in picture is persistence. So that is the time where we are connected with the purpose, understanding with that, knowing the process, and then only thing is persistence. Start working on that. It is not easy, and I know that you're working on a lot of concepts about consistency and productivity. That plays a big role, Manoj, because this villain will stop you, and if you go through that, and it every time it will take a new shape, like you go through, do some courageous work, and after it will come up with a different form, different level of things. So you always have to be persistent to work on your journey to understand your superpowers and definitely become it.
Wow. So like when you are sharing this, Utkarsh, in a very interesting way, I was able to visualize some of the superhero movies which I have seen. So definitely like many of the people will connect what you just shared, like not knowing the purpose, even when some people know, they don't know what to do. So like it becomes very important to follow a process. Like we think that we are facing some problem, but there are so many people who are facing the same problem in the world, and there are so many people who have already faced the problem and they overcame the challenges and they shared the solution with the world. So as you rightly shared, solution is there. We just need to look for it. So I want to know more about this, Utkarsh. Like when you said that biggest villain resistance, so like what can help the people to be persistent and overcome that resistance? What can help for that?
Yes. So that's a great question, Manoj, because anybody can start their journey, like having a new resolution, and maybe motivated by some talk, or maybe just visiting some sacred place. Anything could trigger those emotions, and people can say, "Yes, I have to do it. I will become that person." But then, as resistance kicks in, it becomes difficult. So, very important thing is, first thing that we always have to go with is understand our why related to our existence, that what is our purpose and what is required for us to become the person who can fulfill that purpose. So that understanding, the clarity is very important. And as I said, it may be easy for us to see that destination, but it will be easier for us to talk ourselves out of that. That can we do that? So that's why having that clarity is very important, and at the same time being persistent. And being, when I say being persistent, it's not just about thinking about it, or just coming up with some random things. We have to start working on a proper plan. The proper plan, which way, and again, not to break a mountain straight away. It's about taking that small steps, very small steps. Like the analogy what we usually use with mentees is how to eat an elephant. So you won't be able to eat elephant in one gulp, but one bite at a time. Again, it's not about veg and non-veg. I am a vegetarian. This is just an analogy. So how to eat an elephant? Basically, elephant is also a big task. You have to do a mammoth task, but how you can do is one step at a time. And when you start taking one step at a time, what exactly we are doing is we are building habits, as you rightly talked about in your book as well. So habits, because first of all, habits is something that we make the habits. If we are non-conscious, we make some bad habits which actually ruin us over the time. One small step at a time, over the time it becomes so big that we cannot get over it. And if we consciously start building the habits, so first we build the habits, and then habits build us. So when I talk about persistence, it's all about taking the small steps to build that habits that will build you, first of all, as a character, and then become you automatically or effortlessly start working on the task. Because anything that becomes as a habit, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to like plan about it, because once the habit is there, then you start working on those things effortlessly, unknowingly also. Like driving a car. First of time when we sit in the car, it's very difficult, right? To see like where's the clutch, where's the brake, where's this and that, and then should I see in the front, should I see in this, how I can change the gears. But now when after sometimes after driving for maybe few years, it is just you sat in the car and you reached your destination. You are not even aware what you have done in the between. So this is how effortless the habits are. So persistence, to master persistence, it's all about mastering the tiny habits, taking the small steps, and building the big ways.
Wow. Absolutely, Utkarsh. Like taking that small bite. When we want to do something, we see the bigger picture, which is also good. But sometimes because of that, we feel that this will require lots of efforts. But we don't think in the other way, like being focused on what we can do today, taking that one small step, which will take us towards the dream life, the bigger picture which we want to achieve in our life. So very rightly shared. So, like Utkarsh, one thing you mentioned about is why, clarity. So, like, would you like to share your why? Because I have seen like you are very persistent in what you are doing. You are putting all your efforts for that. So, like, what is keeping you going? What is your why?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually, very connected to my heart, actually. So, as I said, well, I come from a very humble middle class family, rather more lower middle class family. So, my father was a clerk in bank, and mother was like homemaker. So, and again, coming from a family where father already had a lot of debts that he had to fill and all those things. So, we could not like anything other than regular food and everything was a luxury. So there was a mediocrity set in the heart itself, that we cannot afford this thing. This is for these people, like the people are amazing, then only they can afford those. So that mediocrity sank in the heart. It's not about like what my parents could do. They did each and everything that possible in their hand at that point of time. But that environment when I grew through, I always had those kind of things kicking in, and that actually impacted even when I was able to afford a lot of things. That also I was just playing with those recordings in my mind that okay, we cannot afford this and that. Especially when I was in USA, like earning a very good salary and everything was available, but again going through that lines. So what actually impacted me was that throughout my life, I saw that my father was doing a job and everything around the life revolved around it. So nothing takes the priority. Everything we do, it goes on around the job only. And same thing I started. I started working that I come from that background that job is everything, I have to do everything. Uh, I could never say no to any even any kind of demand comes to me. Like I could handle 15 projects. I was given maybe sometimes 30 projects. I every time took those things. And what suffered was my family, my personal time, my health, everything suffered, and I could not think around that. When that happened, 2020, Corona hit. That point of time, and as I said, I became father in mid 2019. So, and my baby was preterm. Uh, he was so far, like he's amazing, right? He is very strong, very energetic, and he did not stay with his mother even one day after 8 months were completed. So usually, children take 9 months with their mother before they come to this planet. They born. So my son didn't take even one day. So he was preterm, and that point of time, I had to see like what I can do because my family was doing amazing, what care they can do. But from my side, I know that my son needs special care. So what I can do to as a father, like how I can be with my son. So I had to be on job like 10 a.m. I had to leave and I came back at around 8, 8:30 or something. So I could not contribute much. I asked like how can I get work from home, but it was not possible that point of time 2019. So I could not get that. So why I started it? I started sleeping for 3 hours a day. It happened went for like almost 6 months, 6, 7 months. Started sleeping just 3 hours a day from uh, till I was up throughout the night till 5 a.m. Usually that is a morning time for people. Went to bed at 5 a.m. when everybody was woken up in the house. I went to sleep 5 to 8. I just slept, then woke up, do the regular rituals and all. Definitely start getting ready for the job, having breakfast, and leave for job at 10:30 or 10 or 10:30, depending on the traffic. So this was the routine for more than 6 months, and I was like, what I can do to ensure that my life does not revolve around just a job. Because for my child, yes, this was the time I had to give more care. But what after that? And when Corona happened, I got the chance to stay at home, work from home started. But again, the question was like, I've seen a lot of people, my friend, family, relatives, and friends. They at very young age they left, like the family shattered. Like they were doing everything, their job and everything, and now they are no more. So family is left behind. So that made me think about who am I, as I said, and that is my why, that I have to become a person that is not dependent on any job, any economy or anything, so that I can understand myself. I can become not only financially abundant myself, but find out that process that enables everyone around me or whoever is interested in that they do not want to depend on any economy or anything and live their life to the fullest. I want my son not to go through that same mediocrity that I had been. So I wanted to become a person, again, as I said, right? Your children will not follow what you say, they will follow what you do. So this is my why, that I become that person who is not only doing everything in this capacity to be the best version of myself and helping others to find their passion, understanding their superpowers and becoming future proof. And in the same time, whatever learnings I have, that I'm also giving to my son, that he also grows not in mediocrity like me, but in abundance. And not only he lives an amazing life, but also reaches his superpowers and understand what is his purpose, live that purpose, and without wasting the time into all those things that will help him to trigger and all those. That practice I want to ensure that he gets in the straight away first, and that comes only with practice. So that's why I practice each and everything myself, so that my son can also learn and also impact others. So this is my why, and each and everything is directed towards how I become the best version of myself and lead with the example for myself.
Wow. I'm sure like many of the people will connect with this because I can completely connect with the kind of times were there during the lockdown. We were seeing people around us dying, and that is something also shook me to get started with this journey and contribute for the people. And I know like the kind of passion and intention which you bring, you are going to impact so many lives. So one very interesting thing you talked about, Utkarsh, is mediocrity. I also didn't know much about this few years back, uh, how it was impacting my life. So would you like to describe more about that, like how it impacts our life and how can we change that?
Yeah. So this is a like very interesting topic in itself, because mediocrity. What happens is, I take an example like a fish does not know it is in water, because entire life fish is in water, and if a fish tries to get out of water, it feels like suffocating, and it will think that it is no life beyond that. And again, we are not fish. For us, when we are immersed into the same environment, that everybody around us is having similar thought process, similar thing, because environment plays a great role in everybody's conditioning towards the life. As I said, when my father having a lot of debts, and again he was started job at a very humble way, and whatever he tried to do, what happens is we had to be in the same kind of conditioning. And that point of time, it was not those talking about early 90s. It was not so much internet and all those things. So we didn't have those much exposure. Okay, so that shapes me into something that believing that I cannot afford things. This is like being a person who can be influential only for great people. I could not even speak in front of people. Like I was so introvert because I felt like something is missing in me, something is less in me, or like I'm not capable. Maybe some people who are extroverts and they come from very rich family and all. That was my thinking. It was not true of all, of course, but that was my thinking. So all those things were through that mediocrity conditioning, and that I realized only when I got exposure to great mentors and seeing them rising from, like I mentioned, my Gurudev, like they would be that he come from very humble background as his father was a truck driver, and now he's a multi-millionaire. And when I see his journey, I could relate to that. I coming from a very humble background, I can see that it's not just about knowing what you are, but also understanding the process to go through that, and that only you can get to work with the person. And it's very important to change the mindset, because once we change that mindset from mediocrity to abundance, lot of things open up, because they were already there. But our focus is on the tiny things. Our focus is on the problems. We attract all those things in our life. We are not celebrating the success. We are always like remorsing about the regrets and the problems we had and all, and we are tracking those things. So that was the understanding I got only when I started working with my mentors, and being in part of the communities which are very progressive and very into going through that understanding about themselves, because mediocrity is something that is like a virus that is always there, that within us, and at every level it is. How we can see that? Only through being in the places which is supposed to go there. It was not like maybe straight away. I'm not saying that you have to start investing, spending lavishly and all. But every level we have to see how we can upgrade ourselves, how we can upgrade the room we are in. Because once we change that environment, when we change the mindset, everything we start seeing that from the lens of abundance rather than from the lens of mediocrity. And that shift was like something that I saw in myself, and that shift is something very important for everyone else.
Absolutely. So like whatever we are thinking, definitely it is coming from where we are coming from, the background which we have. So as you shared, like we just need to look at the things what can help us to change that thought process,
Right.
the thoughts which are coming to our mind, be it the changing the environment, celebrating, upgrading ourselves. So very rightly you shared, Utkarsh, and I'm sure it is going to help lots of people who are going through that uh, thought process which is restricting their growth. Yeah. So knowing your story, Utkarsh, like I know that there was a very low moment in your life when you were like, now what is life? What to do? You kind of lost hope in the life, but you bounce back from that, and now you are at a very level where you are already helping so many people. Yeah. So like someone who is in that zone, from your experience, like what is the advice you will give to that person? Like when you look back, to that now, what is your key learning? What helped you to come out of that?
Right. So yes, you rightly said there was definitely a point in time which I was feeling very low, and so low that even I felt like committing suicide. And uh, let me tell about the thought process, what people go through that point, because I experienced that myself. Is our mind plays a very important role in everyday life. Whatever we see through the lens. We have the eyes, but vision comes from our mind. Like whenever we have that vision, everything is filtered through that. So what happens is, when we go through certain kind of pain and physical pain, people can see, they can go to doctor and maybe get treated. And especially in Indian society, we always neglect the mental pain. So when someone goes through that mental pain, they go it alone, and then what happens, that mind start thinking on the lines that the person is going through so much pain, so the mind thinks that living is painful and maybe death is easier, and mind always try to go through, take the easier path. So that was the thought process in my mind also going through it. But what saved me was, I always thought about, like, okay, if life has to end, it should not end in a improper way. It should also, like, why don't we explore everything that is possible? Because what worse can happen? Because I've always started getting those suicidal thoughts. So that could be the worst thing that happened to me. Once a person dies, nothing else is there. Whatever we think about heaven, hell, and all, we don't know. We have to die to get to that. And when person dies, he does not tell anyone. So we don't know that what happens after that. So only thing is, what I started thinking about that point of time is, let me see what best I can do, because this is the worst part. This is rock bottom. Yes, I had a time like dejected, starting getting away from everyone, time so low and all those things. But then the thought process was what to do in order to become the best version of myself. And that gave me the trigger. That initially what I started was thinking that okay, maybe my physique is not good, so I lost from 90 kgs to 20, 70 kgs. I lost 20 kgs by working so much hard. Again, that trigger was that what worse can happen, right? Could be a body pain, whatever it is, but I'm determined to change. When I worked on my body transformation, that was amazing in itself, but that gave me a picture that okay, body transformation is again surface level. Whatever I was going through is still inside, and to get over that I need to shift my mindset. So whenever I feel low, or whenever I feel that there is something missing, I start thinking about what could be something that I can be grateful for. That is the first thing comes into mind, and that gives me the power to understand. Okay, sometimes if I feel that everything is lost in my life, then I start thinking I'm alive. That is a good thing. I like till I am alive, I can do a lot of things. Many people are not even alive. They went to sleep but never woke up. Many people are not even having maybe their hands and all. I have those things. I have my loving family, so I have not lost anything. This is just a simple thing. Whatever happened, it could be the time, point of time something happened, but I still have everything that I require, because universe made me here, and since I'm alive, that means my purpose is not fulfilled, and I can still work on it. So that gratitude feeling gives me the power to work, bounce back from that basically, and then figuring out what is the process to get to. Because then I look forward by my mentors, because I have like I'm blessed. I would say that I'm blessed to be part of some amazing communities, and also learning from world class mentors. That when I see their journey, when I see the journey of, and also since I work with a lot of IT professionals, over hundreds of IT professionals I work with in last 2 years, so I can see everybody has their own journey, and since I'm blessed to know those things through maybe pain, through maybe a lot of ups and downs in my life, it is my responsibility to help them, and how I can uplift myself. That energy will actually help others also to inspire and go through their journey. So that is the thought process. Understanding my why, understanding that gratitude, what is still there, understanding the process and the intent to serve others. That also actually keeps me going.
Yeah, absolutely. Gratitude is like a magic which works instantly. Like if you when you start thinking about the things which you are grateful for, within seconds, within a minute, you can just shift the mind, because there are so many things which we can be grateful for. There may be like 5%, 10% things which are not going the way we want, but still there are 90 to 95% of the things which others don't have, which we can be grateful for anytime in our life. So thanks for sharing that, Utkarsh. I'm sure it is going to help a lot many people, and especially like when you were in that zone and having the thought like what worst can happen. Now there are only good things, so many things which we generally don't enjoy in our life, which we don't do. But and for that we don't need to go into that zone. Every day we can think like we know we are going to die someday, but living the life every single day to the fullest, that is something I get from what you shared, Utkarsh. So thanks for sharing that. All right. So like what are the top books, Utkarsh? You said you have read hundreds of books. So like what are the top three books which you will suggest everyone to read?
Sure. So when I read hundreds of books, that is from last 2 years. Okay. Earlier also I was like I loved reading, but that reading was restricted to comics and like again novels like Harry Potter and all those things. So at that point, I was only thinking about that. And when I got hands to this amazing book, uh, Think and Grow Rich, I was in college, and when I read through that, okay, just six things. How can a person become a millionaire by just reading six things? It's impossible to think and grow rich. So that was my mindset which did not allow me, as I said, right? You even if you have eyes, but if you see from your mind, but when mind says that okay, this is crap, it is not good enough, so you don't see the beauty, you don't see the value. So that was my condition. How I overcome that, that really helped me is my mentors, Gurudev Dev Gadvi's book, 80% Mindset, 20% Skill. I'm not saying that that might be the best book in the world, but that was the best book in the world for me because that changed my perspective to see the things differently. Because earlier than that, I was not believing in anything like personal development and all. And that came from the feeling that, okay, these people are rich, so they can say anything, and that becomes like a quote and all because they have said it. But my mind shift happened only after this book. So that was the first book which gave me a different mind shift, 80% mindset, 20% skill. Highly recommend to everyone who are not trusting in themselves, they are not trusting in process. Please go through that. That really worked wonderful. So that was the first book that gave me the different mind shift to see the things differently. So that was the first one. Second one was psycho-cybernetics. So yes, I start understanding, okay, and I'm a very logical person in terms of understanding, coming from engineering background, like I'm not completely logical, I operate from my heart as well. But coming from engineering background, IT professional and all, always saw like meaning behind this and understanding why it happens. Then only I trust because again, as I said, I read that book. I went through this movie about uh, attraction, law of attraction, and all those things. I went through those things, but I could not relate to that because I could not get a logic out of it. So that book that which really helped me was Psycho-Cybernetics because there the book was written by a surgeon, plastic surgeon. So coming from that, he wrote the book about mindset. Why? Because he could see that his patients, even after getting the surgery, some people started living amazing life because they see them differently. Some people still be the same because the mind did not allow them to see the world differently. So this book gave me the chance to understand the psychology, understanding that how the reticular activation system works, how I like law of attraction is not just a theory thing. It's just that our mind starts seeing something differently, attracting those things of life because it is started focusing on that this is important. So opportunities, as I said, when we start looking abundantly, we see everything. But those are always there. But we not see them, we ignore them because our focus was not there. So Psycho-Cybernetics was the second book which really helped me to understand the power of my mind and helped me to understand about myself and how I can attract things in life in a logical way, of course. And definitely the third one I would say is Can't Hurt Me. Because this book gave me the understanding about how a person coming from so low, again not in terms of I'd say the person, yes, David Goggins came from a low financial background as well, but low mindset. When I say that person started his job as staying for cockroaches in restaurants in the night, and then he became the like most like hardest person in the world. Like he's become the person who has the strongest mindset, I would say, in the world. When he became a Navy SEAL, he went through the hell week for 3 times. It was like it was difficult to survive even once. He went through that 3 times and become the like person with that biggest hardest mindset and all. So that is the third book which gave me understanding about and could relate to a lot of things there. Like when I talk about cookie jar, he talked about a cookie jar that when you are feeling so low, you can pick a memory from your life instead of thinking of all the bad things that are happening. That point of time where you feel victorious, relive those moments, and that gives you the energy that okay, yes, I'm not that low person. Yes, this is a bad situation, but I overcome that. I have that picture in mind. So how I can overcome this situation? That gives that confidence. So all those things, amazing things that I could relate and started using it because a lot of things we know but we do not use them. And once we do not use them, once we do not implement that, knowing is useless. So this would be the third one I would say. Can't Hurt Me, amazing book. So these are my top three in the list.
Absolutely, I can completely relate with that. All three books are very powerful. I have also read that, and this is something like which we have that capacity which we don't utilize. So our how we can train our mind, how we can use our mind to think in a right way and utilize our capacity. So definitely these books are going to help with that. And I know that your book is also coming up, Utkarsh. So would you like to share about that?
Yeah, my book is also coming up. Some little work is still pending on that, but yeah, Power Up is the name. So this book again comes from my own learnings about going through the journey from lower middle class family to becoming IT professional, and of course going to on-site in good packages, decent salary, decent life, and realizing my own problems that led me to go through that spiral of going to now like the phase where I lost faith in myself, lost faith in my life, being at rock bottom, and also seeing family members or relatives to like die in the corona and all. So all those realizations are summed up here, and how I overcome that, and how that I came up with a formula which can actually help everyone going through those kind of situations to fast track their journey. Because yes, everybody finds their way. It's not like that life goes on. Whatever happens, life goes on. But what way we can fast track the journey to understand that how to unlock your superpowers, monetize your strengths, and become future proof. You don't have to depend on economy or job or company. I don't say that you have to leave your job. Even in the job, you if you are using your capabilities, you being the best version of yourself, you can attract a lot of good recognitions as well as financial abundance as well, being in the job as well. And other than that, if you can unlock your superpowers and utilize them to monetize in terms of some parallel income or whatever way you want to live your life is, understanding that, utilizing your strength to monetize and become future proof, that you don't have to depend on it. So this book sums it up all. So I hope this will bring a lot of clarity to a lot of IT professionals like me, as well as anybody who goes through that, have been gone through their rock bottom in their life. They can also see that how they can unlock their superpowers, monetize their strengths, and become future proof.
Absolutely. Like listening to you, your life experiences which you shared with us here, I'm sure there is going to be lots of gold mine in the book also. So definitely, like I encourage everyone to go for it and benefit from the experiences of Utkarsh, his learnings, his research, the things he has implemented in his life, and he is helping others also. So Utkarsh, like if anyone wants to learn more from you, how they can connect with you?
Yeah. So I'm anyways present in like all social medias, but primarily I look more on the LinkedIn because that is the professional platform, and since I'm working majorly with mid-career IT professionals, so I'm much more active there. So anybody comes up who is gone through this our interaction and wants to connect with me, they can just mention word power in my DM in LinkedIn, and definitely I'll reach out, or anyone from my team will reach out for the next steps.
Great. So, like, what is that one biggest learning, Utkarsh, at last you would like to share with everyone, which they can implement in their life?
Yeah. So the biggest learning for me is understanding of myself, that everything is within me, and that I can relate from amazing quote from Swami Vivekananda himself, uh, who was amazing inspiration from me throughout my childhood also, and even now I see him as a great person who influenced me in many ways. So Swami Vivekananda himself had a very powerful quote saying that all the power lies within you. You believe in that, you can achieve anything and everything in your life. You just have to stand up and embrace that, or express the divinity which is within you. So this small phase gives sums it up all for me, that okay, universe has everything. It is everything in universe is abundance. Like the distances you see, the stars you see, you can't count anything. So everything is in abundance, and that also is within us, because we are also born from the same material. That everything, the most popular theory is 13.6 billion years ago there was a big bang that happened. and everything in the space we see, the space, time, everything was there, and that expanded here. And we are having all those elements inside that were born from that Big Bang till today. So the entire history of 13.6 billion years, and now we are here. So we have that each and every element and power within us. Only thing is we have to just unlock it and live the purpose that we are born. So that is my message is just do not underestimate your power. Just be yourself, understand your purpose, start living that, follow the process, and be persistent. And you can do anything and everything in the life. You have all the power within you.
Very powerful, Utkarsh. And thanks for sharing that. Thanks for coming and sharing your life experiences, because this is, I know what people can relate. Because most of us are coming in from the same background. We are facing the same challenges, but like how to overcome that, how to move forward. And this is something which is very close to me. Like I'm also going through the same process, becoming a better person every day. That is something we all can learn from what you shared, Utkarsh. Like becoming that meta human. Yes, that is the target. But taking those small steps every day, moving forward in that direction, so that like no matter what happens in the life, but
Yeah.
we will be a much better person from where we are today. And everyone we look at, like those who have done something good, something big in the world, they have worked on themselves.
Yes.
And this is something I realized, like as a human we have lots of capacity, our mind has lots of capacity, but we just need to learn how to utilize that. And for that, like so many things which you shared, Utkarsh, it is going to help everyone to become a better version, to become that meta human. So thanks, Utkarsh, for coming and sharing these valuable inputs from your side.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Manoj, and I love the conversation and your power of simplifying things. And I call it your superpower. You simplify amazing things of very complex concepts in a very simplified way that people can utilize. That also inspires me, and I start following a lot of things that you shared, and that gave me a lot of benefits. So I'm so glad and happy that I could be a guest here so that I could share some of my journey and hope that inspires a lot of people and keep doing that amazing job. I love that and always support with that. So thank you so much, Manoj.
Thank you, Utkarsh. Looking forward to listen more from you, because I know you are working on so many things, you are learning so many things. So we would be looking forward to listen more from you in future. Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah.